एक बहुत बड़ी कुर्बानी देकर इस देश में आजादी प्राप्त।
Okay, we're live.
Dr. Ambedkar rightly said, Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life. And its spirit is the spirit always in time. With these words, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Subahati, and a very happy Republic Day to each one of you. I welcome most revered Honorable Chief Guest of the event, Honorable Vice Chancellor Swami Vivekananda Subahati University, Professor Dr. V.P. Singh Sir, Most Venerable Professor Dr. David Blundell, anthropologist from University of California, Los Angeles, Dean Faculty of Law, Sardar Patel Subahati Institute of Law, Professor Dr. Weber Goel Bhartiya Sir, all the distinguished guests, dear participants and students. First of all, I wish you all a very happy Republic Day. As you people all know, that today we have gathered here to celebrate India's 72nd Republic Day. And what day could have been better than this to recall the contributions of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, the one who is the architect of the Indian Constitution. Therefore, the very essence, the very objective of today's guest lecture is to reconcile the cultural ideologies of Bhimrao Ambedkar with special reference to South Asia unity. The kind audience can see the tentative schedule of the lecture on their respective screens. Introduction is done by me. Then I shall welcome Pallavi Tyagi ma'am, Assistant Professor, to kindly deliver a welcome address. Then His Excellency, Professor Dr. V.P. Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Swami Vivekananda Subahati University, will be requested to deliver a presidential address. Then we'll have between us the chief speaker of the event, Professor Dr. David Blundell, all the way from California. He will deliver a lecture on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the cultural unity of South Asia people. Then I shall call Ms. Shefali Garg, Assistant Professor, Swami Vivekananda Subahati University. She'll be reporting the entire minutes of the event. And then a vote of thanks will be delivered by me itself. As most of our guests have joined from various corners of this world, therefore I take this esteemed privilege to introduce Swami Vivekananda Subahati University to each one of you. Swami Vivekananda Subahati University is a university under Section 2F of the University Grant Commission Act, 1956, set up under the Swami Vivekananda Subahati Vishwavidyalaya, Uttar Pradesh Adhiniyam 2008. The university has been established under the aegis of Mahayana Theravada Vajrayana Buddhist Religious and Charitable Trust Meerut, which has acquired a commendable record of service in the field of education, healthcare, and social welfare. The main campus of the university is in the National Capital Region, strategically situated on National Highway 58, Delhi Bypass Road, Meerut. The campus, aptly called Subhatipuram, is spread over a sprawling area of about 250 acres of land, comprising magnificent buildings, lush green lawns, and vibrant surroundings with over 5,000 people, dedicated to make the university a magnum opus in the world. The university has several constituent colleges, which provide higher education in mostly all the disciplines like medical, dental, nursing, physiotherapy, education, law, arts and science, etc. The university has been awarded the membership of Association of Indian Universities in 2013. All India Conference of Intellectuals and Schools of Educators have conferred Outstanding University of the Year 2013-14 to the university for its outstanding contributions in the field of education, science, healthcare, national integration, social empowerment and preservation of cultural heritage. The university has also started a number of courses through distance education approved by the Distance Education Bureau of University Grant Commission, respectively. The university has also been accorded Grade A by National Assessment and Accreditation Council in 2016 itself. I also take this esteemed privilege and opportunity to introduce each one of you to Sardar Patel Subahati Institute of Law, since Dr. Ambedkar Chair established at Subahati Law College itself. Sardar Patel Subahati Institute of Law, that is Subahati Law College, is among one of the top colleges of law in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Subahati Law College was started in the year 2002. The Bar Council of India, under the Advocates Act 1961, duly accorded its approval to the university, and the latest approval has been given via its letter number reference so to run the various academic courses under the Faculty of Law. The college was established in the pious memory of none other than but the Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel. It was ranked 7th in Top Eminent Law School by Competition Success Review, CSR, in June 2020. It was also awarded as the Best Emerging Law College Award at the 3rd National Symposium and Awards on 30th October 2019, jointly organized by Ishwar Saran Postgraduate College, University of Allahabad, Prayagraj. It was also ranked in top 25 college in Law Story of Aspire India Today, 2018, respectively. It also received Best Academic Curriculum Award, supported by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Youth for Human Rights, and Digital School of Law in Legal Desire Summit and Award 2018. In GHRDC Law School Survey also, we scored 1st rank in the category of excellence and 4th rank in the state of Uttar Pradesh, respectively. Now, most of you might be wondering as what is this entire concept of Dr. Ambedkar Chair? Basically, Dr. Ambedkar Chair was established in 2020 under the guidance of Dr. Shailya Raj, Chief Executive Officer, Swami Vivekananda, Subahati University. The chair is serving as a center of learning and research, not only on the subjects concerning Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar works and philosophy, but also on the issues concerning the socio-economic and cultural life of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, minorities, backward classes, and other weaker sections of the society. In pursuance of these very objectives, the chair undertakes research for understanding and disseminating the ideas of Baba Sahib Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Time to time, chair is organizing various guest lectures and various other programs related to Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar and his writing and speeches. With this, I most cordially invite Ms. Pallavi Tyagi ma'am, Assistant Professor, to kindly pay a welcome note and to proceed with the further event.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Most Venerable Sangha, Honorable Sir, Madam, dear brothers and sisters in Dhamma, on the behalf of my fellow members of Dr. Ambedkar Chair and Swami Vivekananda Subharati University, Meerut, I would like to welcome our guest speaker, David Blundell, Chair of the lecture, Dr. V.P. Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, and all the participants who have joined us from different virtual platforms for this auspicious guest lecture on Dr. Ambedkar and the cultural unity of South Asian people. This is the first lecture organized in 2021 by Dr. Ambedkar Chair, Sardar Patel Subahati Institute of Law, Swami Vivekananda Subahati University. I hope you all will enjoy the guest lecture, and may the power of Triple Gem bless you all. May you all be happy and well in this coming year. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. VP Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Swami Vivekananda Subharati University, with a brief intro of Sir. Sir has graduated from LLRM Medical College, Meerut in 1975, and soon after he joined Army Medical Services. After 33 years of distinguished services, he retired from Army as a brigadier in 2010. During services, he did his post-graduation in anesthesiology and PhD in anesthesiology from AFMC Pune, and fellowship in cardiac anesthesiology from a premier institute, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He has published more than 40 scientific papers in national and international index journals. Under his leadership and professional excellence, the Department of Anesthesiology and Critical Care at Subharati Medical College, Meerut has progressed leaps and bounds. He has also given the additional responsibility of Vice Principal and Additional Chief Medical Superintendent, SMC. He had been chairman of the Hospital Management Committee, Hospital Infection Committee, and presently he is also serving as the member of Senior Task Force, which is handling the COVID-19 pandemic. With this professional acumen and administrative skills, hospital services as a whole showed a dramatic progress and related to the patient care, delivery, outcomes. He has joined Swami Vivekananda Subharati University as Vice Chancellor from 1st of September 2020. It gives me immense pleasure to call Dr. VP Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, to address and inaugurate the session. Welcome, sir.
Jai Hind. Let me wish you a happy Republic Day today. Today is the right occasion to talk about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. As you know that he was father of Indian constitutions, and he was a Bharat Ratna awardee, which he got, I think, later years. And he was really genius, which India has produced. As you must be knowing that he was the one who did his PhD in 4 subjects. You can imagine that how much learned person he must be. There was nothing which he didn't know. And even when he was given the responsibility to frame the constitution, he chaired that committee, which were having 300 members. And before really giving the final shape to the constitution, he studied about 60 constitution of the various countries. And after that, he came out with the Indian constitution, which is the longest in the world, a written document. And he was, right from beginning, he was very much concerned, and he experienced himself the plight of the untouchables in India. That's how things moved. And thereafter, he started working in that direction. He went through a quite difficult time because he himself was subjected to that kind of discrimination. And therefore, he decided to lead that section of the society. And ultimately, he could succeed in that. And he was so learned a person that in spite of he having differences with Mahatma Gandhi, still he was invited when Congress was forming the first government to become Minister of Law and Justice, which he accepted. He remained there for some time, but again the differences came between him, and there are certain issues which bills were introduced in the parliament, which he did not agree. and he has to resign from that post. However, he continued to work towards his own goal to somehow bring the untouchables and the ST and other lower classes people to bring on the same platform. Now, this was the thing in spite of his constitution writing, where it gives a sort of surety that in the constitution that social equality for all, irrespective of their caste, creed, color, gender, whatsoever. So Indian constitution is written by him, and he wanted to follow. He wanted to follow himself and want others to follow. So this whole life went to dedicate for this cause. And today it is good, and I'm happy that under the Dr. Ambedkar chair, we are having a discussion on the issue. And I'm sure that whosoever have attending this today's event going to get a lot of knowledge immensely. And this is a give us opportunity also to remind us the constitution obligations and morality. And as I have seen that there are very learned people, or particularly the guest speaker of the day, which is really good that we all will be benefited and enlightened by his talk. So with these, I would like to wish that today's webinar or this activity a good wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Thank you. So before welcoming our today's guest speaker, we want you to see a small journey of an event which Swami Vivekananda Subahati University has conducted. So let us watch this video together.
मैं बिना किसी विलंब के, क्योंकि क्रमबद्ध कार्यक्रम है और कोरोना प्रोटोकॉल का हम पूर्ण पालन कर रहे हैं, मैं मुख्य अतिथि महोदय से और सम्मानित परिवारजनों से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वो आजाद हिंद ध्वज फहराकर अखंड भारत के स्वतंत्रता दिवस पर इस कार्यक्रम का आगाज करें। परमादरणीय मुख्य अतिथि महोदया जी, हमारी कुलाधिपति महोदया।
चैन की बरखा बरसे भारत भाग है जागा, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग, चंचल सागर विंध हिमालय नीला जमुना गंगा, तेरे नित्य गुण गाए तुझसे जीवन पाए, हर तन पाए आशा, सूरज बन कर जग पर चमके भारत नाम सुभागा। जय हो जय हो जय हो, जय 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 हो।
मेरा अनुरोध है परमादरणीय मुख्य अतिथि महोदय जी स्थान ग्रहण करें। आज एक बार फिर हम अपने अखंड भारत का जो सपना हम सबके अखंड भारत के राष्ट्रपिता नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस जी ने देखा, उसी को जीने जा रहे हैं, आनंद में खोने जा रहे हैं। मैं सीधे अनुरोध करूंगा कि अब हम मांगल्य प्रेक्षागृह से लाइव जुड़ेंगे, तो सम्मानित अतिथिगण कृपया मांगल्य प्रेक्षागृह में प्रस्थान करें। मैं आदर के साथ अनुरोध करता हूं कि हमारे परमादरणीय मुख्य अतिथि मांगल्य प्रेक्षागृह में प्रस्थान करें।
Welcome back, everyone. So our guest speaker for today has joined us, and it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce you all to Dr. David Blundell. Dr. David Blundell received his anthropology PhD in South Asian Studies from the University of California, Los Angeles. He is known for ethnographic projects in the arena of observing methodological ethics from beginning to the end in the research process, with the product completed by, for, and with the people it represents. As a visual anthropologist, David Blundell directed and filmed A Rising Light, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and the Birth of a New Era in India. It received the United Nations Day of Vesak Day 2014 award for Best Documentary Film. Professor Blundell offers anthropology courses at the University of California, Los Angeles, and serves as anthropology and language editor of the Electronic Cultural Atlas Initiative in UC Berkeley. Dr. David Blundell is designing a new curriculum for teaching courses based on his long time and recent updated research on maritime indice transmission of religious beliefs and trade in monsoon Asia and Indo-Pacific regions. Now, I would like to ask and request actually David sir to enlighten us on the very topic of today's guest lecture. Welcome, sir.
Jai Bhim, thank you.
Jai Bhim, sir. Over to you, sir.
So first I would like to thank everyone for this opportunity, especially my friend, brother Hirohito, who has graciously invited me for this seminar. And I would like to as well apologize for the difficulties to enter the system. And now that I'm here, I would like to share my screen. I'll try that now. And see how that works. Okay, can you see that now? Can you see my screen?
No, sir, we cannot see your screen yet.
Oh,
You need to share that again.
okay. Let me try that. Okay, I see. There's another. Okay, I'm trying that now. It says share screen, share.
Yes, we can see that now, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I come to this one. Now, can you see it now?
Yes, it is perfectly visible, sir.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it is visible.
All right.
Please.
Okay. So this is my presentation on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Cultural Unity of South Asian People. And especially today, Republic Day of India, it's a very special significance to have this presentation. As you have mentioned graciously, I am offering my courses at UCLA today, and also serving as anthropology and language editor at UC Berkeley for the Electronic Cultural Atlas Initiative. And I have my film production company, Navaloka, in Santa Monica, California. Dr. Ambedkar in anthropology, why and how this is important. I believe Dr. Ambedkar and his life is a good model for teaching anthropology, including origins, religious systems, social transformation, administration of state, water resources, constitutional law, cultural revitalization, and questions of heritage. I'm inspired by the people who have been working on this project with me and in the social sciences and humanities, in health and the applications for academic and work based on our university and religious studies, anthropology. We have been able to put together a series based on visual anthropology and film. I teach the course on South Asia as a region and people. And where my story begins today is how Dr. Ambedkar, a person who was born in British colonial India at a military base, was able to uplift himself, and through his formative years growing up as an untouchable adds to his legendary components, with these stories forming chapters of his life in films. After matriculating from college in Bombay, India, the state of Baroda gave him a scholarship for up to 3 years. Bhimrao took some money in advance from his scholarship and gave it to his brother to care for his family in India. On July 29th, 1913, Bhimrao arrived in New York and was admitted to Columbia University. A young Ambedkar was a student at Columbia, where he was in a lineage of anthropology that began in the United States. So he is from the origin of anthropology. He had the opportunity to interact with the developers of this science. At Columbia, he was able to publish one of the best works on understanding the social system of India based on caste. There he began his studies of ancient traditions, political systems, and economics. According to Eleanor Zelliot in the film, she said, he went to Columbia, got his MA, he got his PhD in economics. That was his field, particularly the rupee and the British behavior. He was very anti-British in his economic studies. In 1916, B.R. Ambedkar enrolled in the anthropology seminar and offered his paper that was presented and then eventually published by his teacher, Alexander Goldenweiser. And this is Ambedkar as a student, and his professor, Alexander Goldenweiser, and Columbia at that time in 1913 when he enrolled. His thoughts were about caste as illustrated by his reflections on academic reasoning and definitions of the time. Ambedkar's motivation to study the subject came from his own experiences with caste as an untouchable born in India in 1891, and his struggle to receive higher education. In his seminar paper, Castes in India, Their Mechanisms, Genesis, and Development, it was published in Indian Antiquary of May of 1917. He argued that the vast populations in India suffered from autonomous caste system, which he hoped from the constitution of confident self, a life, mutual recognition, and participation in collective affairs. At Columbia, his legacy as a student and with the founders of anthropology, he was able to publish one of the best works on the social system of India based on caste. And he studied ancient traditions, worked on modernization, worked to unify India, increased awareness and social consciousness to the state of the humanity that he worked on for supporting egalitarianism. And eventually he got into politics, power, government, and a position as the first law minister, and then he became aware of alternative religious systems. So I'm going to, if this plays, and let me know if you can see this. So this is a sample of some footage that we used to start our project. Can you see this? Are you there?
Yes, sir, we can see that.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So this is the footage that we began with, and over the years filming in India, and this is at the Chol, or the place in Mumbai where Ambedkar had a room where he had his family. And so this is some footage for the preliminary study of Dr. Ambedkar and to make a film. So we begin with the Ajanta caves, where he worked for the cultural unity of India by embracing Buddhism and the ideals of Ashoka. This is in Ajanta, and climbing the steps. I'm sure that you have been there. It's a beautiful place. And here in the story, we are going to meet up with our friends in Pune, who are helping to develop Buddhism and the teachings of Dr. Ambedkar in central India.
Actually, those who are very malnourished children, we are providing some nutritious food, and actually this is very helpful for poor people. Means they go to their work, and they have their children. They keep in your scratch, and they can go and they work there.
This is a daycare center, kindergarten. And that's where we started our film project. So we'll go to the next. And then we worked on a film, a 26-minute film, and I'm going to show you a brief clip from that film as well. And in this film, Eleanor Saliat helped with the story for recounting the historical implications of Dr. Ambedkar's social and legal revolution in India. It came as a movement of social transformation of humanitarian rights, and with his beliefs that through egalitarian Buddhist ideals, there could be something important for the social and transformation of the people of India with unity. So I'm going to try to show some clip of the film.
In South Asia, land stretches from the Himalayas in the north to the Indian Ocean. It is a region of many peoples, climates, beliefs, and castes. The year is 1927 in India under British rule. One man leads thousands of people for a simple drink of water. The tank, open to all others, even animals, was denied to his people, the untouchables. Beaten for this simple act of defiance, their leader's struggle was just beginning.
Well, he was the leader of all the dispossessed in India.
Dr. Ambedkar's life was very much dedicated to the untouchable, to the poor, and I think that is tremendous.
He's probably the most highly educated man in Maharashtra, possibly in all of India, and he's an untouchable. And the first college graduate, just an unbelievable story.
If I was asked to confine myself to one word, I would say he was a very heroic figure, a sort of almost a Herculean figure, strong, determined, with a touch of belligerence.
Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar led over 60 million people in their fight to receive basic human rights.
His funeral in Bombay, the funeral procession, was the biggest one India has ever known.
Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar was born in 1891, the youngest child of 14 to a military officer in north-central India. Ambedkar's parents, Ramji and Bhimbai, thought of him as the jewel of the family. Their family belonged to a group of people called the Mahar, who were untouchable. To be untouchable was to live without craft or proper education. These people suffered because they were the lowest of the low. We now go far from India to Minnesota to meet Dr. Eleanor Saliat, who received her PhD in Ambedkar studies and is the foremost Western scholar on Dr. Ambedkar.
The Mahars were a huge caste found in every village in the area, the Marathi-speaking area, and they had no craft. They did not do leather, they did not clean bathrooms, they did not make ropes. Most untouchable castes have some occupation. The Mahars were village servants. They decreed the boundaries, they took care of the government horses, government officials' horses. They settled disputes, they carried the holy fire from one village to another. They carried out dead animals, this was their one polluting duty. They obeyed the wishes of the Patel, the village headman. They took the treasury of the village to the tax center. They had all kinds of duties which demanded intelligence, but none carried over as occupations into the non-village world. Well, Ambedkar may have been the 14th child, but he clearly was beloved by his father and his mother and encouraged, because the family moved to help him get an education. They moved to Satara, then they moved to Dapodi, and then they moved to Bombay. And this bright youngster managed to do his matriculation from the University of Bombay. This is a very big deal. The only untouchables who've gotten to this level of education were Christian untouchables from the South who could work through the church. When Ambedkar got his matriculation, a caste Hindu reformer, Krishnaji Kaluskar, gave him his book, which was a life of the Buddha. This is a very mythical legend now in the whole story of Ambedkar. As a young man, he was, a child really, a teenager, he was given the life of the Buddha in Marathi, of course, which he read and appreciated. He went on to school. He went to Elphinstone College. He couldn't study Sanskrit because it's Mahar. He was an untouchable. He studied Persian, which meant he had perfect Urdu later when he was a political person.
After earning his bachelor's degree, Bhimrao now faced the problem of finding work. His father, with his 50 rupee a month pension, had hoped Bhimrao would get a job in Bombay. Bhimrao was then introduced to the Maharaja of Baroda. The Raja then asked Bhimrao a question. I would like to send an intelligent young scholar to America for a higher education. Would you like to go? Bhimrao immediately filled out the application, and the state of Baroda gave him a scholarship for up to 3 years. His departure to America was certain, so Bhimrao took some money in advance from his scholarship and gave it to his brother to care for his family in India. On July 29, 1913, Bhimrao arrived in New York and was admitted to Columbia University.
And Ambedkar went to Columbia, studied with very important people, chief among them John Dewey, the great rationalist, educationist, humanitarian Democrat.
Bhimrao took up residence at the Cosmopolitan Club, a very international-friendly dorm that included some of his classmates. It was upon reaching America that Bhimrao discovered he had the freedom to study as much as he pleased. He was a man obsessed with study and pursued it 16 hours a day at libraries where he would be the first through its doors and the last to leave.
He went to Columbia, he got an MA, he got a PhD, economics, that was his field, particularly the rupee and the British behavior. He was very anti-British in his economic studies. Well, Ambedkar was not satisfied with the Columbia PhD, so he got himself to England with the help of yet another non-Brahmin prince, the Maharaja of Kolhapur, Chhatrapati Shahu. And in London, he studied at the London School of Economics. He got his DSc, again on economics, and he passed the bar. Now, this is extraordinary. He's probably the most highly educated man in Maharashtra, possibly in all of India, and he's an untouchable. And the first college graduate. Just an unbelievable story. He doesn't write much about those days. We know he struggled. We know he didn't do very much but study. We know that he struggled economically. He didn't have much money.
After finishing his studies in London, Ambedkar returned to Baroda. The scholarship he had taken bound him to work for the government for a number of years. The king wished to make Dr. Ambedkar his finance minister. When the government servants learned who the king wished to make their administrative chief, the response was to offer unlimited insults to Dr. Ambedkar. Even when the lowest ranks would fetch a file for him, they would not enter the room and threw the files at his desk. As his treatment was unbearable, and not finding proper accommodation in the town as an untouchable, he resigned. Dr. Ambedkar refused to be defeated by his failing in Baroda. Returning to Bombay, he spent his spare time looking for a job and used the library to continue his studies. After a great...
Okay, so I will end. This is just the introduction to the film, and I want to move on to the next slide here. And so this film is, to use a quotation from Dr. Ambedkar, untouchability shuts all doors of opportunities for betterment of life does not offer an untouchable any opportunity to move freely in society. It prevents him from educating himself and following a profession of his choice. After independence in 1947, Dr. Ambedkar became India's first Minister of Law. In October of 1956 at Nagpur, the center of India, with the multitude joining him, Dr. Ambedkar embraced Buddhism. And this is at the Diksha Bhumi in Nagpur today. The message of Dr. Ambedkar has spread beyond the confinement of the Dalit community in India. Currently, the influence of Dr. Ambedkar has inspired international communities, one of the most far-reaching social movements in the world today. And that is the theme of what I would like to talk about. As I am inspired by South Asian people's accomplishments, motivated by Dr. Ambedkar, as a profound engagement of social transformation among dispossessed populations, reaching out to everyone, growing out of India to become a trans-regional network. So as mentioned, I do mapping and geographic information systems, modern techniques of looking at ancient maps and current geography. And so this is an old map showing the lands of Ganga and the islands. And you can see how the river system spread out from India and Southeast Asia. And this is the region of my studies, what I call Southern Asia. And when we look at the origin of Buddhism, we see that there is a tree, the sun, an empty seat, and followers coming to pay their appreciation and admiration to the wisdom of Buddhism that we can see also here at the Mumbai airport. Everywhere we look, we see emblems of Buddhist meditation. We see it where I've studied primarily in Sri Lanka. And I'm going to show you another clip of more modern view of Dr. Ambedkar as I observed in New York. So the Republican Party of India candidates, and you can see Dr. Ambedkar has been there. And so my theme on this South Asian unity and globalization is happening. And why it is happening, I believe it stems from Dr. Ambedkar's engagement with social justice, financial economy, political rights, higher education, and Buddhism. And these factors have created a movement reaching to Taiwan, Japan, Korea, and now Hungary. So in Hungary, I had the opportunity to be a professor at Dharmagate College in Budapest. And there I found there was also a school in Hungary, in the central part of the country, where school children of the Roma, and Roma are the children who are descendants with their families from India and living in Central and Eastern Europe. So this is the Dr. Ambedkar High School. And I'm going to show you some of the grounds of the school. It is in blue as the color of Dr. Ambedkar.
Ah, yes.
And there's a mosaic on the pavement, Jai Beam.
Jai Beam.
Yeah, that's right. And the wheel. So this is the gymnasium of Dr. Ambedkar, and it is a high school dedicated to the children of South Asian descent in Eastern Europe. And their Jai Beam is really important to them. And so this is the school building. And they want their children, the Roma children, to have international communication with language. And this is the children there, and their work of art and their calligraphies, graffiti, about the world they live in and how they feel about the world. And this is the main hall of the school. And this shows Dr. Ambedkar and the Buddha together. So we started to work with sharing experiences through films. And we had a seminar there at the school in the Lumbini room. And we're going to have a conversation now with Tibor. He is Hungarian, college educated in sociology, and his Roma colleague, also the principal of the school. They both run the school, who is from a descent of India. And the interview was conducted by Huiji Wang, and I'm going to show a clip of that interview here.
And some Dalit people came to visit us in Hungary, our project. And yeah. And after they invited us in Bombay, Pune, Nagpur, and when I realized how many people believe in Buddhism, in Ambedkar, and in that way, if you change your life, you can be more than Dalit, you can be more than Gypsy, you can be more than, I don't know. And in that time when I saw the power of Dalit people, in that time we decided we would like to have same gathering like Dalit people in the state. And in that time we created our church, Buddhist church. We have a Buddhist church. The name of our church is Jai Beam Network. And in 2007, we found our school, which is Dr. Ambedkar School. We need a hero. All nations need a hero, you know. And Dr. Ambedkar is a good example for us, the best example for us, you know, because he was Dalit people. And from this level, he could be the people who wrote the Indian Constitution. You know, and he is a really good hero in India. And yeah, we are in the same level like untouchable people in India. And for our people, it's more easy to understand because he is a good example. He was untouchable. is Dalit, and it will be minister. And the way from Dalit level to minister level is dedication. And for us, this is the most important message for poorest people. If you choose education, you can be more than poorest.
So it doesn't matter that Dr. Ambedkar, he himself is an Indian. So your identity is because he worked out from the
We are European.
top.
We are European. You know, we are European, of course. Gypsy original are from India, but I cannot feel anything. I cannot feel Indian blood in my body, no? But of course, when I realized many young people in Dalit movement in Maharashtra state believe they can do themselves anything for their life. Yeah, it's our turn also.
And then you have been working like for Janosch for more than 30 years, and then also for you about for Thibault is about over 30 years, and Janosch about 20 years for this work, and then also for the school already like 8 years, 9 years now. So do you think you can already see the education make a difference to the children or the people here?
Yeah.
The empowerment already you see that.
Of course, there are many youngsters who are still at different levels of education, and many of them already graduated from our school or even from higher education. Because we are a high school, we send youngsters to universities. And there are some of them who succeeded and who graduated. And there are even some of them who came back to help our work after having the diploma.
Of course, 22 years before, we created the association, Amrita Association, and yeah, from that time we start to go from gypsy settlement to university. This is our way. And in 2007, we create our own background in this project.
Yeah, our own background means
driving network.
So you said 22 years
We don't
ago
need any more help for Christian church.
So you said 22 years ago you created what kind of association?
Amrita.
It's a movement of young gypsies who go to further education.
Oh, okay, so it's a young Amrita.
Amrita
is a drinking of immortality. It's a Sanskrit word. Yeah.
It's in the Hindu and Buddhist mythology.
So this is our group in our gathering, and it shows students and some of my students and the teachers of the Dr. Ambedkar School, and there they give fresh flowers, and they have planted a bow tree around the image of Dr. Ambedkar, and the education is ongoing. So our study is about social transformation for humanitarian rights, and we believe that there could be a resurgence of this in a South Asian people's global sense based on Buddhism. And I teach anthropology with the focus on heritage and cultural resource. as a utilization for defining people's ethos and facilitating a consciousness for communicating with others. This has been of prime concern for determining a sense of place, and especially in South Asia, I have found this is exceedingly important with the many religions and beliefs. And of course, Dr. Ambedkar, in framing the Constitution of India and embracing Buddhism, he chose the emblems of state of Ashoka, the lions of the pillar from about 2,300 years ago. He thought that this unity, embracement, Buddhist ideals, egalitarian, and equality among men and women, he really wanted to have a better life for people, and especially through education. And that's what we have found in other places where the Ambedkar movement has spread through Korea and Japan, and in Taiwan, where I am also located, where I'm also teaching and having students, and in California, and also in Hungary and other places. This movement has been spreading. And so I want to really give my thanks to the people of India who have given this opportunity for this conference, and especially having a chair in Dr. Ambedkar Studies at your university. And this is a great honor that I have for receiving this opportunity to have this talk given, and I hope that I could have other talks in your program and on more specific topics. And as a filmmaker, I would like to say that this is one of the many opportunities that I have, and with all my film resources, hopefully to produce a feature film, a larger framed, you might say, a film that actually it goes to worldwide theaters, maybe not now, but maybe through what we call our virtual theaters, and as we're doing now for this conference. And my gratitude and thanks for everyone who has made this possible, and especially for having a research chair for Dr. Ambedkar Studies. This is a great achievement, and I want to give my thanks again. And I'm open to questions. So I'm going to leave the sharing here and come back to you. Okay. Hello.
Yes, yes. It was quite an interesting lecture, sir. Especially when I was watching that part, like glimpse of the documentary itself. So it actually took me back to those days when Dr. Ambedkar would have gone to studies to the university. So that was so enlightening. We're going through the questions. We'll get back to you for the questions. But before that, we have Miss Shefali with us, who will summarize the entire event and present a report on it. So I would like to call Miss Shefali, and then after we'll have a little question and answer if we could find any questions into the comment box.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you once again. Firstly, I would like to thanks to provide me such an opportunity to be here. And thank you, sir. You have wonderfully presented the life of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar before us, how much he had struggled in his life. As by birth, he belonged to a untouchable community as well. Yes, and today we are as discussing the uh, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar and cultural unity in South Asian region, South Asian people. Yes, when we are talking about South Asian region, yes, it is correct that the nations belongs to South Asian region has somehow a similar history, a similar political history, as which is rooted in British administration. Yes, in British administration. In present, this region is presented by like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka as well. यस सर, जैसा कि सर ने बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से हमारे सामने प्रेजेंट किया इस पिक्चर को, इस लाइफ को जो उन्होंने लीड की. एंड यस, ड्यूरिंग ब्रिटिश एरा वी हैव like various discrimination on the basis of caste and religion, and somewhere the thoughts of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar took by left in India as antithesis of Hindutva. Yes, as antithesis of Hindutva. But it is not as such antithesis, because the idea of social justice was presented basically by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. The idea of social justice, where we live in the new era of human rights. The era of human rights was introduced by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar in India, basically. As in, we saw it around us that the India's neighbor countries, basically when we are talking about Pakistan and Bangladesh and Afghanistan as well, these are Islamic countries. And when we are talking about Sri Lanka and Bhutan, etc., these are the basically Buddhist countries. But we are very thankful to Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who introduced in India the human rights. And we are living in the era of secularism in India, where all the rights, all the religions are respected equally. And even majority can never be overlap, or minority can ever exercise their rights equally as all the communities as well. So as we see in present scenario, the constitution, yes, the architecture of constitution of India is Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who introduced lots of provisions which ensures the equality of justice, social justice, equality in property rights, as Sir said, as David Sir said, that the work of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar ensure the right to equality among men and women in different castes, sectors, etc. So our Indian constitution also ensures such things in different provisions, like we have Article 14 in our constitution, which ensures right to equality among the citizens or non-citizens of India, and the state cannot discriminate on the basis of different grounds like sex, religion, caste, creed, etc. And furthermore, we have DPSPs, like directive principles of state policies also, which ensures the social justice, financial justice, etc. And it is the duty of the state to ensure all these justice among the citizens. So basically, we can say that in present scenario where we exercise different rights with different justice, social justice, this is this is a gift of uh, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, which is given to us in our present scenario. Yes. So thank you so much, sir. With these words, I would just pay to thank Sir Dr. David sir, and Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Subhati.
Thank you for your comments. Excellent.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful report. Now, I would like to call Ms. Anna Sisodia, who is Research Officer to Ambedkar Chair. She'll ask certain questions that have come to us from our students to David sir, and will also give vote of thanks for the session. So over to you, Ms. Anna Sisodia, Research Officer, Dr. Ambedkar Chair.
First of all, a very pleasant good afternoon, sir. It was a pleasure listening to you. You shared wonderful experiences with all of us. So there are a couple of questions that I have received regarding the concerned topic. And it will be really great of you if you like to answer those questions. So the first question is, somebody wants to know about your viewpoint on the issue of economic empowerment through Dr. Ambedkar's vision of eradication of class classification. So we'd like to hear something about you regarding this topic. A vision of eradication of class classification, having special reference to economic empowerment.
So this has been, may I address you as Anna?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Anna, Miss Anna, okay. So Sisodia, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly, sir. Anna Sisodia.
Thank you. I am always wondering about, in anthropology, we have the idea of the club, the caste, the class, and all kinds of social and economic hierarchy among the people. And I believe that socially and politically and economically, that people will always be structured within a hierarchy that probably cannot ever be eradicated. But yet, through education, according to my belief as an educator and following Dr. Ambedkar and his ideals, that through education, we can find something uplifting and mobility through the hierarchy of all of these levels of the caste and the class. And these classifications are, of course, culturally, socially constructed. Everyone is born as a baby, human, growing up. As my mother would say, when you were born, you were given the life as a baby, which you can then develop yourself through grade school, college education, and uplift yourself. And so I worked on that through my life. And I believe that, and many of my friends from South Asia living in America, they have also uplifted themselves through education. They had to struggle. And eradication of classification systems, I don't think it's going to happen in human society, but it will be alleviated through an educational process. But also it takes a certain amount of timing, luck, where you are, and what are the political and social events happening around you at your time. So, but I have hope for the future that through intelligence, education, and having liberalization in social systems, people can achieve mobility in their class. But it doesn't have to be that you have to leave a class. You can keep your class and continue with mobility into other classes and be more of a, you might say, a transnational person, as I have become because I have lived in, as you can see, teaching in Hungary or Taiwan or America, and these places. And I get this opportunity through education.
Thank you so much, sir. You beautifully answered this question. So there is one more question with us. So somebody is asking that, will you please comment on the financial empowerment in South Asian countries through Dr. Ambedkar's effort with special reference to Islamic countries? So would you like to say something about this?
So I believe, and what has inspired me through Dr. Ambedkar and his life is that he has been a South Asianist. He grew up that way, and when he chose Buddhism, although it had practically disappeared from South Asia, but had been rekindled throughout Southeast Asia and East Asia, and including America, he believed that this embracement of cultural heritage through Buddhism would be a layer of inspiration for the people of all of South Asia and the world, as we can see from the interview in Hungary. So at the Ambedkar School. So for Islamic countries, I believe Dr. Ambedkar, he especially worked, hopefully, to bring Pakistan with India into a kind of cultural unity. And so both in the different schools of and sects throughout India, the Sikh community, the Ravidas community, the Buddhist community, have all been inspired by Dr. Ambedkar. And especially in Pakistan, I don't think anyone has anything against Dr. Ambedkar for his inspiration. I believe it has been inspiring. When we come to Sri Lanka, which is a very long, historically Buddhist country, they feel that they have some kind of origin of Buddhist teachings in their country, and very proud of that. So I think that this is something that that all countries need to deal with, is how can you take modernization, the principles of Dr. Ambedkar, education across all of the boundaries and traditions within South Asia. And I believe it's possible through greater awareness.
Thank you so much, sir. We have a couple of more questions, but since we are running short of time, so I would like to move with the last session of today's event, vote of thanks. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure hearing to you.
It's a great pleasure. Anna, thank you so much for convening this question time.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so moving further with the event, this is the very last session of today's event, vote of thanks. And I have been bestowed with this esteemed opportunity to thank all the people who are there with us and who have supported me and my entire team this complete event. First of all, I pay my sincere thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Swami Vivekananda Subahati University, under whose patronage the lecture has been conducted. Thank you so much, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for according the permission to us to conduct the very lecture. I'm also grateful to Professor Dr. David Blundell for joining us all the way from overseas, accepting our invitation and sharing his wonderful insights with each one of us and blessing us with his precious words. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your precious time with us this afternoon. My heartfelt thanks to Honorable Dean Dr. Weber Bhartiya, sir, Faculty of Law, for providing every possible support and vision every now and then. Also, my numerous gratitude to Dr. Hirohito, sir, under whose time-to-time guidance and enlightenment this lecture could have been made possible. Thank you so much, sir. My limitless gratefulness to Ms. Pallavi Tyagi ma'am for spending her precious time guiding, supporting, and sharing her valuable feedbacks with all of us. I'm also grateful in this series to Ms. Shefali Garg for joining us as a reporter this afternoon. I'm also thankful to Vishal Sir, Head Online Digital Marketing, Swami Vivekananda Subahati University, for helping us organize this lecture live on various social platforms. Thank you so much, sir. My innumerable thankfulness to all other distinguished guests, students, and participants who joined us from various corners of this world. I thank each one of you to make this event a grand success. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Subhati, and a very happy Republic Day once again to each one of you.
Jai Bhim and Namaste. Thanks. And much appreciated to all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.